Hi, I'm Sue, and today I'm going to chat with you about how to know that your baby is getting enough milk. So there are 4 things that our baby is going to do to tell us they're drinking enough milk. Number 1, they're going to feed often. Number 2, they're going to settle well between feeds. Number 3, they're going to have plenty of wet nappies. And number 4, they're going to have plenty of dirty nappies. So you can see the grid on the screen, or the picture on the screen, and that picture is going to guide us around everything that we're looking for. Okay, so you can see there, if we look at your baby's age, you can see for the first week of baby's life, they should be having about 10 to 12 feeds in 24 hours. Okay, so that's feeding often. The reason that they're feeding so much is because you can see under your baby's tummy size that their tummy is tiny. It's the size of a cherry on day 1. It's the size of a walnut by the time baby's about 3 or 4 days old. And it's about the size of an apricot towards the end of the week. So little tummies need to be refilled regularly. When you look back up at your baby's age, okay, you can see that when baby gets to about 2 or 3 weeks, their feeds start to space out. So now baby might only be feeding 8 to 10 times in 24 hours. And the reason for this is because if you look down at their tummy size, it's now the size of an egg. So they can fit a greater volume of milk in there, which allows them to go a little bit longer between feeds. When we take a look at wet nappies, so in the first week, what we're going to expect is, wait for it, this is really easy. 1 wet nappy on day 1, 2 wet nappies on day 2, 3 wet nappies on day 3, 4 wet nappies on day 4, 5 wet nappies on day 5, and 6 wet nappies on day 6. Once baby is 1 week old or more, we're going to expect 6 heavy wet nappies every single day. That's baby letting you know that they're thriving and they're getting plenty of milk. In terms of dirty nappies, we're not as rigid around it. So we expect to see maybe 1 to 2 dirty nappies every 1 or 2 days. Sometimes you're going to see way more than that. And sometimes you might even have a baby going 3 days between dirty nappies. But once baby's feeding often, settling well between feeds and having plenty wet nappies, we don't worry too much about baby going an extra day here or there without a dirty nappy. In terms of the consistency of dirty nappies and what to expect, we're going to chat more about that in class 5, caring for your baby. We'll take a little look at the changes in those dirty nappies in that first week in that class. I'm going to talk you through the timeline of a breastfed baby for the first maybe 10 days of life. Okay, so first of all, you're probably looking at the picture of the screen on the screen, and you're probably wondering to yourself, like, really? Are all babies going to behave exactly the same way for the first week or so? And the answer is more than likely. Okay, so take a picture of this screen, and this is kind of going to guide you through that first week or 10 days. Okay, so let's look at day 1. So on day 1, what to expect. So your baby is going to be sleepy after the birth, and so are you. Okay, baby is going to wake for feeds on demand, but because he's sleepy, he's going to settle back to sleep really easily. So my advice to you on day 1 is to really rest up between feeds, close your eyes, go to sleep, recharge, because you are going to be tired after giving birth. On day 2, all babies, okay, so there's no exception here, all babies are going to appear really hungry on day 2. So my advice to you is that you're going to feed them on demand, which, believe it or not, could be every hour at times. Okay, so realistically for day 2, you're probably going to be feeding your baby for the best part of that 24-hour period. And the reason for this is that this is Mother Nature's way of really getting baby suckling on the breast, so that on day 3, when your milk comes in, there's going to be plenty of milk there for your baby. So this is baby really stimulating your milk supply and your milk to come in on day 3. So this is actually a really important part of breastfeeding. So on day 2, my advice to you would be that this is the day that you're going to get back to all those calls and texts. Bring your AirPods in with you so you can get back to all your voice notes, because you're going to be awake feeding for 24 hours. And it makes much more sense, like, to do all that admin now than to be awake on day 1 doing it and exhausted on day 2 tackling all these feeds. So day 3 and day 4, your milk is going to come in, woohoo! And baby is finally going to look full after his feeds. And also this is the day that your breasts are going to, for the first time, start to feel really full and heavy as well. Okay, so classic day 3 to 4 is a really full looking baby and also kind of quite full feeling breasts. What you're going to do on day 3 and day 4 is feed your little baby on demand, and baby will settle well between feeds. What you are going to notice is that it is quite likely that baby's going to be more active at the night than in the day, and this is normal behavior. The thinking is that it is Mother Nature's way of encouraging baby to feed a lot at night while those prolactin levels are high, and that's really going to help build our supply, isn't it? So my advice to you is to rest up during the day to recharge for busy nights of feeding. Day 4 to 7, more of the same. Okay, so you've plenty of milk, baby's feeding well, baby's settling well between feeds, but he is more active at night, so rest up during the day. Day 7 to 10, your baby is quite likely going to have their first ever growth spurt. So this is amazing. What is a growth spurt, you might be wondering? It's kind of like the behavior that you saw on day 2. Okay, so a really hungry baby feeding loads at the breast. And what this is going to do is it's going to increase your volume of milk. Now, the reason this is really important is because if you remember back to our grid, baby's tummy is starting to grow. It's now almost the size of an egg. So this growth spurt is going to increase your volume of milk per feed, which is going to allow baby's egg-sized tummy to really fill up at every feed. And that's going to give baby the ability to actually let those feeds space out. So when you see this growth spurt happening, you know you are just about to turn a really lovely corner with this breastfeeding. Once you get to about day 10, that growth spurt is finished. You may begin to see the feed space out a little bit, and you may start to see baby, becoming a little bit more active during the day and sleeping a little bit better at night. So baby is still, of course, going to wake about 2 to 4 times for feeds at night, but they're not going to be awake as often as they were in that first week during the nighttime. From day 10, every baby then will start to kind of follow their own little pattern. They'll fall into their own little routine, and all their little personalities will begin to shine through. But hopefully this video helps you through those first 10 days. Thanks a million and have a great day. Bye.